السلام عليكم شباب. يعني أنا قبل ما يبدأ الدكتور هيثم بدي أوصل لكم مسج من سيد أيمن حجاوي. مؤسسة حجاوي على استعداد لتمويل تدريب الطلبة اللي بيلاقوا فرصة تدريب خارج الأردن. طبعا شكرا للمؤسسة، بس احنا يعني هذا ضمن دعم متواصل من مؤسسة الشاملي حجاوي، بس في مسؤولية عليكم انكم تحاولوا تثبتوا نفسكم وتدوروا على اماكن تدريب كويسة خارج الأردن، والمؤسسة على استعداد لتمويل الفرص التدريبية بالكامل. يعني أنا بدي منكم يعني نشاط على الموضوع حتى نستغل الفرصة. هذه الفرصة مش دائما بتتوفر لنا، فأي واحد منكم بيحاول أو يلاقي فرصة تدريب كويسة في شركة عالمية خارج الأردن يبلغنا، وإحنا بنعمل الترتيب مع مؤسسة حجاوي. شكرا لكم. أترككم مع الدكتور هيثم، أنا متأكد إنه في أشياء كثير كويسة عم نسمعها.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نبدأ السيشن اليوم. السيشن اليوم شكرا دكتور محمد على الانترودكشن الجميلة للإكسبوننشال تكنولوجي والديستربتيف ثينكينج. الآن ندخل ديب دايفنج سيشن، راح يكون شوية متعمق ومتخصص بتكنولوجيا جديدة اللي هي انترنت اوف ثينجز، اللي هي عمالها dominating the world. Today's talk, I will start by giving a brief introduction about exponential thinking, main exponential technologies. The IoT is one of them, so I will summarize the main 6 exponential technologies. Then I will talk about the Internet of Things, overview and introduction. Then I will talk about IoT as an exponential technology. Why IoT is an exponential technology? Then the evolution of wireless system 5G and how 5G will be the enabler for the Internet of Things. Without the 5G, we will not be able to do IoT things. Then 5G as an enabling technology for IoT, then the specification, requirement, and technologies. Then I will conclude the talk. The finite resources, the infinite resources is the power of ideas, finite limits. So the gas, the oil is going. So the only thing that's infinite is the human being and the human thinking, the ideas. So we need to do ideas. So the ideas is the future, not the oil, not the gas, not the natural resources, because these things are going to go. As Muhammad said, we shall require a substantial new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. So traditionally we think about natural resources, now we're talking about the human being as a resource. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man, not the reasonable man. So you have to change your mentality and way of thinking from linear to exponential, from reasonable to unreasonable to make the change. Now we'll talk about the main 6 exponential technology that will disrupt the world. Artificial intelligence and robotics. My colleagues will talk about this. Biotechnology, nanotechnology, energy, Internet of Things and computing system, and finally the medicine. I will be talking today about the IoT and computing systems. So the question, what's the Internet of Things? It's a massive surge of smart interconnected things. IoT is a network of physical objects or things embedded with electronics, sensors, software, and network connectivity that enable these things to collect, analyze, and exchange data. IoT brings the promises of a new experience and efficiency, allow devices to communicate on the same network irrespective of the technology. So we're talking about heterogeneous network, so they can talk with everything. IoT takes us from a world of connected people to people, and people to internet, to things to thing. And people or human being is one thing. We are talking about machine to machine, sensor to sensor. Everything will be operated by machine and by things. So people is only one thing. So the ultimate goal of IoT is to automate human life at all. This is the exponential increase of the number of connected devices by 2020. They're expecting to have a 50 billion device connected to the internet by 2020 and 212 connected sensor devices. These devices are expected to be supported by the 5G. If we stick to the 4G and we have the current system, we have a nice speed now. With the 4G, you can achieve 100 megabits per second. However, when 50 billion devices connected to the internet, the whole system will fall down and would collapse. If we just stick with the 4G and whatever wireless connectivity that we have now, this will not be able to support the new generation of Internet of Things. We will talk about also about the traffic generated by each user. Next, so we have an exponential increase. If you go back to 2004, you have less than 0.5 million devices connected to the Internet. In 2020, we have an exponential increase. It says 50 billion, and you have 200 billion in sensor, so you are talking about a huge number of connected devices. So, for the world population, in 2003, we have 6.3 billion. We have only 500 million smartphones or devices connected to the internet. By going with time, in 2008, for the first time, the number of connected devices is more than people. Now, in 2020, we expect 50 billion devices at least, which is mean 8 devices per person. Imagine this amount of massive number of users and massive traffic. So change is the only thing permanent in this world. In 2020, the expectation is 50 billion devices. In 2025, it's 200. In 2030, it's 1,000. Imagine, billion. So 1 trillion. So the IoT potential saving time and money. So connected people, we only have 7 billion people. However, we can make 4 trillion in revenue and saving by using IoT in 10 years, from 220 to 230. This is the expectation by General Motors. We have 25 plus million applications. We have 50 plus billion embedded intelligent system and 50 trillion gigabit of data. So, the future of IoT. We need to ask us a question. What happens when 50 billion machines become connected to the internet? If we stick to the same system that we have and it's good enough, the system will fall down. You will not be able to support a single bit of transmission, because when you have a very large number of users trying to attempt or accessing the internet at once, and you have a very low speed, the system will collapse. Okay? The sky is not the limit. It's just the beginning with IoT. We have 50 billion devices. It's just the beginning with the IoT. So the sky is the limit. We're looking to automate every single aspect of your life using IoT. As my colleague said before, 70% of the job will disappear, and 70% of the new jobs will come to the pictures as a developer and as computer administrator. So IoT can help us in every single life, in brilliant hospital, brilliant yard, brilliant power system. So this will save money and power and automate life. This is an example of exponential growth. Let's define 5 exabytes, which is 5 billion gigabits. From the start of time to 2003, human generated 5 billion gigabits. In 2010, in 2 days, you generate this amount of traffic. In 2013, 10 minutes, you generate 5 billion gigabits. In 2020, in 1 millisecond, you generate this amount of traffic. This is an exponential increase of the number of, or the traffic or number of bits that sent over the network. So, we as a mankind are living the most exciting time in the history, as the IoT and machine to machine are changing every aspect of your life and every industry. Every industry is going from operated by human to operated by machine that interconnected with each other using the IoT technology. The exponential of IoT technology are about to cross. Thus, there is a need for an enabling technology to support IoT demand. As I said before, if we stick to the 4G or the previous generation of wireless, this system will not operate. The IoT traffic are expected to be supported by the 5G. So the enabling technology for the IoT at the wireless part is the 5G. The exponential increase in performance of 5G will bring not only a continued benefit for mobile or smartphone or better utilization, it will also be essential to supporting the expected increase in IoT connected devices and the huge traffic generated by such devices. So, what's 5G? Stands for the 5th generation wireless technology. It's still in the pre-standardization phase. It will come into the picture in 2020 as the first system. It's a real wireless world capable of supporting wireless World Wide Web. It's a worldwide cellular phone with very high speed, high connectivity with best technologies and service, high dialing speed, no more clarity in audio and video. It's a complete wireless communication with almost no limitation. No zone limitation. It's globally accessible. So you access the system because it's based on the IB wherever in the world. It can support number of connected devices. Thanks for the IB7, IB version 6, and etc. In IB version 6, by the way, you're talking about an IB for every inch square of the Earth. You can give an IB for every inch. So we don't have a problem of assigning IBs to users. Thanks for IPv6. Speed and traffic limitation. They're talking about tens of gigabit per second speed and move while you're moving. This would support the IoT. These three things together will make the Internet of Things happening. So the evolution of supported devices. So as we have an exponential increase in the traffic and exponential increase in number of users, let's see what happened to the cellular phone. In the cellular phone, we also have an exponential trend of the number of supported devices, the real one. If you can see from 1985, you have few hundred or few thousand devices. Now we're talking about 5 or 6 billion devices in 2015 and 2020. With the birth of the 5G, you will be able to support the 50 billion device. Current wireless traffic issues. We have an exponential increase in traffic volume. Further expansion of mobile broadband. Additional traffic due to communication machine, which is the IoT. So we have expecting 10,000 traffic in 10 years from now. 1,000 times in traffic in 10 years. Massive growth connected devices. So we have machine to machine. Now the camera talk to the vehicle talk to the phone, smartphone, to the printer, to the medicine, to artificial intelligence, to robotics. Everything, things are talking to things. So we're expecting in 2020, 50 billion devices. We also have a large diversity of application and different application and this device-to-device communication machine, a new type of traffic will be generated. So we have to deal with such thing. Let's have a look at the current status of traffic evolution. We also have an exponential increase on the supported bit per second, which is in line with what we're thinking for the IoT and 5G. So we started in 1996 with a few kilobits per second. Now we're talking 100 megabit per second. And for the 5G, we're talking about tens or hundreds of gigabit per second in move. So we have technical objective for the 5G. We need a 1,000 data volume. So when you design your system, the 5G should be able to support 1,000 higher mobile data volume than we have in 2017. Should be able to support not only the 50, the expectation is 50, but as time is going, this number increases. So the system should be able to tolerate from 50 to 500 billion devices, which 10 to 100 times what we have now. So also we need at least up to 10 gigabit per second in move, so which is 10 to 100 times higher data rate. Latency, because if the IoT will take over in every single aspect of your life, it's going to be in medicine and health and everything. So the delay is very important. If you're talking about an IoT device connected to a human being, so every microsecond has a value. And if you're talking about tactical application or time critical nuclear planet or something, you need to talk about a very low latency in delivering the data. So they're expecting the end-to-end delay is 5 times less than what we have now. Battery lifetime. The IoT devices are mainly sensors network that are spreaded and you cannot recharge it. So you need to prolong the lifetime of the IoT device as much as they can. They're looking for the 5G to have it 10 times what we have now. So the specification that they have, data rate, they're talking about 1 to 10 gigabit per second, capacity, 5,000 gigabit per month per user. Now we have, on average, in 2017, each user in the world that generates 5 gigabit of traffic. Now we're talking about 5,000 per device or thing. And the human again is, or us, are just one thing of a lot of connected things. Spectrum. As we have more number of users, we need more spectrum. So we have to go to a higher frequency and flexible. So we are talking about in the 5G about light communication, millimeter wave communication, energy, of today's consumption, latency, as low as 1 millisecond. Because as I said before, many of the IoT applications will deal with human life or something that will make lose for you money or other thing. Device-to-device capability, flexibility and multi-hub, reliability. Now we're talking about the IoT in manufacturing, in health and medicine. So we need the system to be reliable. 99.99% is the target of the standard. Coverage, seamless extension, anytime, anywhere. Battery, 10 times better than the lifetime of today's battery. Device per area, this is important. 300,000 per access node. Now we have a few hundreds, maybe a few tens of devices connected to each base station. With the birth of 5G and IoT, we have 50 billion devices, so we were able to support 300,000 device per access point. Some of the 5G technology, we will be going to the light communication and millimeter wave communication to secure more spectrum. We're talking about dense network, very large number of users or devices per unit area. Massive MIMO, we have each user will be equipped with a massive number of antennas to support the data rate needed by the IoT devices. Caching and mobility management. This is a big issue in 5G. For example, if I want to fetch a video that's located in a server in the US, so I watch the video. If you want to watch it in Jordan, you don't have to go back to the US to get the same data, so you can cache some of the data on our phones and use it for better latency and energy. Green computing and reduced signaling, it's an important. Then device-to-device communication, as I said, thing-to-thing, device-to-device is enabled by the 5G. I will summarize the main technologies that used in the physical layer of the 5G that made it happen, the very high reliability, low transmission power, etc. OFDM, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing and multiple access, beamforming, so you direct the beam direct it to the receiver, so you don't have any waste of energy. And MIMO, multiple input, multiple antenna, time division multiplexing, software-defined radios. Now we're moving from regular radios to intelligent radios. Intelligent radios that can sense, learn, and adapt. We're talking about something that's smart. As we have finite resources in power and bandwidth. We have to use it in a better way to support this number of users. So we have intelligent communication system called cognitive. Cognitive networks, it means can sense, learn, and then adapt to the environment. Turbo coding as test time coding, we have touched the maximum theoretical capacity now. A few years back, there's a big gap between what we can achieve and what's the maximum. Now, we are within 0.1 dB with the 5G from the optimal or the maximum theoretical capacity. However, this comes at several design challenges at the 5G and the IoT devices. Privacy by design challenge. We have a privacy issues, quality of service challenge, simplicity challenge, density challenge. We have a huge number of users. How to manage these number of users? Interoperability challenge. So you come up with a 5G that should be interoperable with previous generation and other systems. Green computing challenge. We are talking about green computing and saving energy. So it's a big challenge still. Mobility across technologies. Your device can jump and hop between different technology in what's called heterogeneous network. Resource management, flexible pricing challenge. Okay, how are we gonna charge the customers? Per minute, like now, or flat rate, or per data volume? It's still an open question for the 5G standardization agency. Evolution challenge, transparent migration. So people are reluctant to change. So how it's gonna, to do evolution from 4G to 5G, it's not gonna be easy. We need it to be easy and transparent without you knowing this thing. So this is the effort that's doing in 5G. They started exploratory research in 2012. In 2015, pre-standardization phase. In June 2007, it's like 4 months ago, they started the actual standardization activity. In 2020, the first commercialized system will be employed in Chicago in 2020. Summary, Internet of Things, what we have until now and until 2020, it's only the tip of an iceberg. We still have the iceberg under the water. So IoT is gonna make our life easier, but we will have a lot of challenges. Conclusion. I said we are living in the most exciting time in the history as the IoT is changing every industry and impacting the world as a whole. The ultimate goal of IoT is to automate human life. Everything is automated. 5G technology is going to be a new revolution in wireless system market and enabler for the IoT. IoT and 5G are promising technology that will change people's life. Designing hardware and software components for 5G is a very hot research area still until now. Thank you.